live broadcast, which is coming to you from Gdansk, Poland. I am sitting outside the building where the Gdansk Accords of August 1980 were signed, which led to the birth of Solidarity. In the Gdansk Shipyard itself, it's now open, but in 1980 it wasn't open to the public. Indeed, there was when I was in Poland in the 80s, somebody tried to get in, what shouldn't have been here, was caught, and he had some problems. Anyway, so that apart, this is a live broadcast, so please you can ask anything you want. It doesn't have to be about the subject of this talk, which is a purchase of an RV and investment. It can be about anything else which is relevant, but please keep the language clean in view of the fact that this is it's live. So. Anyway, so actually, I'm going to do is I'll show you a bit of where I am later, but I'll try and introduce the subject a bit. Is it an investment? Well, I did a live a couple of days ago about is it cheaper to live in a house or is it cheaper to live in an RV? And I don't know if I came to a conclusion or I didn't, but. I would say on the whole, obviously it's cheaper to live in a motorhome, but you got to buy the thing and it depreciates. And it was because of that somebody made the point that, well, you know, the house goes up in value, whereas a motorhome only goes down. So I thought, yeah, well, what about writing about is an RV an investment? Because there are people now. There was one viewer who said something, I can't remember exact the sums involved, but who said that they bought their van for £48,000. They traded it, sold it for £48,000 to the same dealer, and that dealer now had it up for £64,000. So from 48 to 64,000 pounds, well, an increase in 25%. And indeed, there are vehicles which are now being sold, which I know of other cases where they've actually they're putting them on sale for more than they actually paid for them. So they used the thing for what it was intended for camping and going out, and then they were able to actually sell it on for more money. Now, the point I have to make about this is that, okay, yes, certainly, that is the economic situation as it exists at the moment. The capitalist system works on supply and demand. It doesn't work on, as here 42 years ago, it worked on the system of some old men in a room in Warsaw deciding how much things were going to be, how much was going to be produced, and how much the costs were going to be. So therefore, as supply and demand, as the demand increases, then the value of the product will do as well. Now, if you go to the shop, you will buy a bottle of water for around 20 cents or 20 or 30 cents or something. But if you were in the middle of the desert, you'd be prepared to pay hundreds of times more for that one bottle of water. So it means it's the supply and demand. So I think we need to understand that. The thing is, which I've got to make very, very clear, is that if one were to buy a new vehicle at the moment, then the first thing is that there would be a long waiting time, and by the time that you've got the thing, I think we could be well on the way to seeing a drop in prices. So on the whole, I'd say it is not a good investment at all. There are companies that actually do it, though. They buy motorhomes on specs, on speculation. They think that the cost, the value of it will either the value will go up, but they are dealers, and they're major dealers, and what they do is that they buy a huge amount, so sort of a bit in the way as you get these ticket touts. They'll buy all the tickets up for something which they're not going to sell, and then sell them for much more than their face value. So they go to companies, they buy up 100 pieces, and then they sell them onto their customers, and the customers can just walk in and buy them at any time. And so, for example, it's Sulzemos. I've mentioned this place before, the De Freistadt. Incidentally, I'm not sponsored by them at all. I keep mentioning them, but this is the biggest choice of motorhomes on the market and anywhere in Europe. And so there's this huge choice. But because what they've done is they've gone to the manufacturers and said up front, they probably pay them up front, but they get some huge discounts, no doubt. And then you can go to them and say, well, I want a whatever you want, whatever vehicle it is you want, but you're going to get it in the colour. Say they've got the inside, it's going to have the options which are already there or not there, and if you want anything else, then you're probably not going to get it. So if it's something which is integral to the vehicle, such as, for example, even the interior furnishings, that is what you're going to get. And so that's how that works. Now it does stand to the reason, of course, like with the ticket touts, that you could end up with buying all the vans off a company, but I very much doubt that they're going to sell them to you at the current time. Now, my prediction is the following: is that there is currently a shortage for the reasons I have discussed in the past, and the reason for these shortages are going to be resolved. Semiconductors and shortage of vehicles and all these things. These problems will be resolved in time. I don't know when they'll be resolved, but they will be resolved in time. Another thing though is because of the COVID situation, people were buying motorhomes and campervans and all the rest of it because they don't want to they want to isolate in their own van. And people are going to forget about this isolation thing, and I think they're already beginning to forget about this thing about isolating themselves. And lots of people are going to find out that they don't really like it, and I do understand that. I mean, if you go to a hotel, it mightn't have wheels, but I suppose you don't have to empty your toilets out, and you don't. And to get water, all you got to do is to turn the tap on instead of having to find the water first, fill it up, and then turn the tap on. So I do appreciate that there is plenty of people who are not going to like it, and also I imagine there's lots of couples where one of them, probably the man, who said that he wanted the van, and his partner's put up with it for a couple of goes, but decides doesn't really like it at all. In fact, a former girlfriend of mine said to me 2 days ago she doesn't like these scouting conditions, or that's the Polish translation of it. She doesn't like these doesn't like doing things on the rough, and so I can understand that. This isn't something for absolutely everybody. So what this will mean is that there will be a supply and demand. The prices will fall, and so that will be that'll be that. There'll be so. To answer the question, the last question, is it cheaper to live in a house or a motorhome? Well, I couldn't really give you a straight answer. I think actually it's probably cheaper to live in a motorhome, but I couldn't give a straight answer. But in this case, is an RV a good investment? The answer is no. I accept 100% that today, on the, what's today's date? The 12th of August, 2022, that house prices are likely to fall in many countries, certainly in the United Kingdom, and the cost of motorhomes is going up. I accept it, and I accept it that for every pound, dollar, euro, whatever you spend on a motorhome today is likely to be worth more this time next year and everything you spend on a house today is likely to be worth less. Yes, I accept it, but this is such an unusual circumstance. And now the only way an RV is an investment is it's an investment and as you say, it's an investment in yourself. It's something you want to do and all the rest of it. I have heard of people writing to me about buying it as investments, using them. Yeah, okay then. But how much will you get for it when you sell it next year? I don't know. What we do know though is the depreciation that you normally get on a vehicle when you drive it out the salon, or when you've used it for a year, will not happen in this case. Of that I'm pretty certain. The price crash will come in, I would guess today, at around 3 years time, 2 to 3 years time, 2023 4.5, something like that. That's what I think today. I mean, somebody probably pull up this video in 2025 and say, hey, look, you were wrong on that one. Well, yeah, maybe it will be, but I can't tell. It really is quite difficult. Okay, right, good. So that's the answer to that one. Today's video, I'll just show you now where I am, because I do like to actually, you don't want to look at me, I'll turn the camera around. So this here is the building. It was the health and safety building. That was the word I was looking for when I was doing it the other day. Health and safety building of the Gdansk Shipyard. It has been done up. I mean, it looks quite new. You can go inside. You can see, and this is the big hall. I suppose I could have filmed in there. Maybe I'll do it some other time. Where the accords were signed. I think they've got a table up. Where I think it was the original table that was used by the representatives of the communist government and Solidarity. Here we've got the this is the headquarters. This is the what you call the management building of the Gdansk Shipyard. Sorry, there's a bit of wind. And so this dates to the 19th century, and so I think it's quite impressive. And here you can see all of these new. There was nothing here a few years ago, except buildings which were falling to bits. Yeah, I'll cross the road whilst I still can, and I'll take you into a different part of the shipyard. I suppose I should be walking through here. No, I shouldn't. Not as this. Oh, go on! I'll jump over. Yeah, I'm jumping. And one interesting little feature just opened recently, I think, is you see that crane there? You can go up it. And today I went up it. Now to go up it, it costs 18 zloty. That's about what, €4 more or less. And I think, oh, that's a lot just to go up a crane. I thought that's incredibly cheap, because imagine how much it costs to keep it up, to keep it maintained. But, and this is the thing. What it did for me was it gave me a huge amount of respect for the people using something like that in winter when there was ice, and walking up the thing. You could slip and fall, and that's it. You won't be watching any more videos on YouTube after that. And so it was, on a day like today, if you've got even if you've got a little bit of a fear of heights, then I wouldn't suggest somebody did it. But it was on a, for those that had to do it every day in January, December. Amazing, really, that they could actually do something like that. I'd be terrified going up something like that in the winter. And I do appreciate that they do it every day, but you only have to slip once, and that's it. Don't get, it possibly is a circumstance where you don't get a second chance. Oh, another point I point out: somebody's parked the van here. This is perfectly legal. It's paid parking. Presumably they've paid. Mind you, at night it's going to be. I'm not certain I want it here at night. Now, this here is the shipyard, and there were lots of buildings have actually gone, but these buildings here now are being retained. They're nearly all of them from the 19th century, and you can see the original railway lines. You've got the gantries up here, and there were more gantries. So I've seen them in old photographs, but you can still see some down there. And here we've got the two styles of the road. We've got the cobbled road here, which will be 19th century, with this layer of asphalt which has been stuck over the top, which is quite common. And hello, Luke. Yes, Lech Wałęsa is still alive. Oh, I hope he is. He's in hospital at the moment, and he was this morning. He was in hospital this morning. He was born in 1943 in Lipno. And so that would make him now, what, 78? I think he was born December 43, if I remember rightly. So, you see, okay, here, there was a building here when I was ill, I think last year. So some of this closed as a shipyard in 1998, if I remember rightly. And but the thing is, it was never really suitable for a ship. Okay, when ships were started building, the first place they were built at was down there in 1836. A Prussian prince decided that Prussia needed a navy, so he found a place down there, directly in front of me now, where he started building the first ships. And the thing is like this is a river, the Motorhome here. It's 5 kilometers or so from the sea approximately, maybe a bit less, but it's shallow. And by the time the end of the 19th century, it just wasn't suitable because there wasn't enough space. They needed bigger, like the Tyne as well, is another example. It's not suitable for building ships. So ships have to be built where there's space. But I mean, today, what they can do, for example, they build pleasure boats. They can build boats for the, things like the police, or sort of inspection, or rescue, or taking people to oil rigs and this type of thing. But big ocean-going vessels, this is not the place to actually do that from. So. Right, so anyway, this gives you a little look at what the shipyard looks. They've got what they're doing. There's been done here. There's lots of like bars and cafes and things like this. Some of the buildings are being used for warehouses, and there is a bit of a nightlife scene here. Although I haven't taken to the bit where it was nightlife scene. It's at the other end. But it does sort of lend itself for sort of an alternative drinking venue in an old warehouse or production area. This street was used largely for tool manufacturing, and so more of a view there. Some ships and boats here. They were here last year, I think. I don't know if the same ones. I wasn't taking notes. So there you go. Right. So I'll turn the camera back on me again then. So thanks very much. I hope you found that of interest. I'll try and upload as off the cuff. Unfortunately, I have to do it off the cuff because of foul-ups by YouTube. But anyway, so if you hope you found that interesting, and all the best from me. There's a video this evening. Can't remember what it's about now. I think it's either a Rapido or maybe that's tomorrow. Can't remember which one it is. But anyway, there is a video. I think Rapido's tomorrow. Tonight I can't remember what it is. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be at the premiere tonight, and all the best for me in Gdansk.